In the 700s there was a small kingdom of Sindh consisting of much wealth and riches. However, these lands were ruled by a cruel Brahmin named Raja Dahar. He was a status-conscious ruler who often looked down on people who didn't belong to the same class as his. His kingdom shared a border with the Arabs who have already extended their empire to Persia, including the province of Kerman and Makran. The governor of Baghdad, Hajjaj bin Yusuf, dreamt of conquering Sindh and had been eyeing these lands for many years. The reasons were not only the riches these lands provided or to extend the borders of the caliphate but also to protect the centuries-old sea trade route between the Arabs and Southeast Asia. The sea route was often jeopardized by the sea pirates protected by no other than Raja Dahar. The Sindh border had been attacked by the Arabs 14 times already, all of which were of no avail. The failure of such attacks had many reasons, one of which was the long distance from the capital Damascus to the Sindh border, which was more than 4,000 meters long. Hence, traveling and transporting goods became a challenge, but Hajjaj bin Yusuf was a determined man and waited for the right opportunity. And in 711 AD he finally got his chance. 8 ships were sent from the king of Ceylon, present-day Sri Lanka, to the governor of Baghdad, Hajjaj bin Yusuf. The ship also carried women and children. Some historians say they were the widows and orphans of the soldiers and traders who fought the Indians and traded. The route the ship took had to cross a point in Sindh coastal area called Debel. It was at this point the sea pirates overtook and looted the ship. All the goods and people were captured and the ships were burned down. Raja Dahar was aware of all that was happening, and when the pirates came with the loot, they shared it among themselves and imprisoned the captives at the Debel fort. When the news of this attack and the imprisonment reached Hajjaj bin Yusuf, he got furious and demanded Dahar return the captives and the looted goods and also wanted the culprits to be punished. Dahar, however, said he had no control over the sea and the pirates did what they liked. But the presence of the captives at the Debel port spoke otherwise. Hajjaj was not fooled and became infuriated. He conveyed the situation to the caliph in Damascus and appealed for a military expedition. After the permission was granted, Hajjaj sends 2 expeditions that failed miserably as Dahar proceeded to have the upper hand. Enraged by the repeated failure, Hajjaj decided to take a huge offense against Dahar in the shape of a huge army. To free the prisoners and punish the guilty party, Hajjaj sends his nephew and son-in-law, Mohammad bin Qasim. Before we move on to the conquest, let's learn more about Raja Dahar. Raja Dahar did not only offend the people outside the borders of his kingdom but also the people within. He was very proud of his birth as a Brahmin and didn't saw people of the lower class as his equal. This was a common practice in those parts of India that followed the religion Hinduism. Hinduism revolves around the caste system that mostly benefits those that were on the top by wealth and power over those at the bottom. Dahar's kingdom mostly consisted of Shudras and Buddhists who indeed were treated inhumanely. Many basic human rights were ignored or denied to the common people. It was negligence that played a part in his downfall. In addition to his already falling reputation, Raja Dahar married his sister, which was considered a huge sin according to Hinduism. The reason he did so was that a fortune teller told him that the person who will marry his sister will rule India. Out of greed, Dahar married his sister. This altogether made Raja Dahar disliked very much. After the 2 failed expeditions, Hajjaj bin Yusuf chose Mohammad bin Qasim to lead the conquest. Mohammad bin Qasim was Hajjaj's son-in-law and his nephew and was only 17 years old when he was assigned this task. In 712 AD, Mohammad bin Qasim prepared for the conquest. He was given 6,000 cavalries and 5 catapults. Mohammad bin Qasim took the coastal route from the Makran to reach Debel along with his cavalries. His catapults came via the sea route. With the help of the catapults, the walls of the fortress were broken down and a temple was also destroyed. This temple was considered very sacred by the locals and its destruction broke the spirits of the people, especially Raja Dahar and his army. Many of the forces got dispersed and Raja Dahar fled to Auror. Debel has fallen into the hands of the Arabs. According to many historians, Mohammad bin Qasim was also assisted by the Buddhists, Juts, and some wealthy landlords. It is also rumored that the locals shared the sacredness of the Debel temple with Mohammad bin Qasim, and after learning this, he destroyed the temple. The prisoners were freed and war booty was collected. Mohammad bin Qasim was advancing up the river Indus along its west bank. Upon learning this, Daher moved to Rawar fort located on the east side of the river Indus. At nighttime, Mohammad bin Qasim aligned all the ships across the river to make a makeshift bridge. Mohammad bin Qasim along with his cavalries crossed the bridge. Daher's soldiers were caught off guard, and this officially started the Battle of Auror. When Daher realized what was happening, he mounted his white elephant and got ready for battle. Both sides fought ferociously. During the battle, the trunk of Daher's elephant got injured, and the crib that held Daher got hit by a flaming arrow and caught fire. The elephant got out of control and made for the river to extinguish the fire. Despite the chaos, Daher managed to escape the crib and made it to the bank. However, he is stopped by an Arab soldier who succeeded to put Daher's cruelty to an end. But the battle wasn't over yet, as the Auror fortress was yet to fall. Mohammad bin Qasim marched to the Auror fortress and broke down the walls. Rani Bai, Raja Daher's sister, who was also believed to be his wife, suicided along with her maids and her lady-in-waiting. Mohammad bin Qasim expanded his campaign all the way to Multan, but did not go any further. Mohammad bin Qasim became the governor and the administrator of Sindh. He introduced Islam and established Muslim rule. Jizya tax was imposed on non-Muslims following the guidelines of the Sharia law. Locals were allowed to practice their religion with no interference. All citizens were given protection. During his rule, trade increased and many Sufi missionaries were brought to these lands. Many locals accepted the new religion of Islam. The 2.5 years of rule by Mohammad bin Qasim in Sindh were considered to be a peaceful time. In 715 AD, Hajjaj died and Caliph Walid was succeeded by Sulayman ibn Abu al-Malik. Sulayman and Hajjaj had some rivalries between them. As a revenge, Sulayman called Mohammad bin Qasim from Sindh to the capital to torture and kill him and his family. Mohammad bin Qasim died at the age of 20. Today, Mohammad bin Qasim is remembered as the hero wasted by his people. Many people mourned his death. Many spots in Sindh are famous after his name honoring him, including Qasim Port, Yomi, Bab al-Islam, and Ba ibn Qasim.